Hello and welcome to another episode of the Blueprint Roundtable. I'm your host, Chrissy Manzano, and I have with me Emily and Lizzie today to talk about our topic, which is what is the number one mistake most candidates make during the interview process? So, Emily, I'll start with you.
Yeah. So I would say the number one mistake I see, and it's not one that necessarily won't get you the job, but is one that I see so consistently and it baffles me because it's such a simple way to set you apart and maybe ensure you get the job. But it's the lack of coming prepared with thoughtful, relevant questions that relate to the role and the interviewer's role within the existing organization. I think that I think it really comes across, whether people realize it or not, even if it's a subconscious review from the interviewer's perspective, it just kind of suggests that you've lacked preparation for the conversation. Like, a perception of lack of preparation is probably a good way to describe it. It's a missed opportunity to showcase your interest for the role. And really, what it does for the candidate is it impacts your ability to assess for what the things that you value does this company also value, and if there's a culture fit, and then also, the role itself, is the role aligned to what you're looking for that you really want to do and feel like you could be successful in. I think that, those thoughtful questions, and a perfect example is like asking about a specific initiative, like, what are your revenue goals for this year? And not tailoring those to the interviewer that you're talking to. You can ask that same question in a different way across a CRO, somebody in marketing, and somebody in sales, because even if the company has the same revenue goal, your path to contributing to that looks different and your collaboration with those folks looks different. So I think it's an overlooked way to easily stand out within a candidate cohort that I don't think I've seen sometimes. It's not necessarily a reason to totally DQ someone, but it definitely, helps you stand out when you come to the table with those prepped.
Yeah. Lizzie, what about you?
So I've been thinking about this since I heard of the topic. I kind of went back and forth, but then as Emily was speaking, it came to mind. I honestly think now the biggest mistake candidates make is candidates coming into a recruiter screen thinking they're too good for the role that they're interviewing for.
Mm.
Meaning they come in, they don't really want to dive into detail. They only care about what's the compensation, where am I going to get there? And instead of, like Emily said, preparing for the call and having thoughtful questions, they're sitting on the call wanting the recruiter to sell them, when honestly it's the candidate side of the recruiter and then also the recruiter selling the opportunity. I've been on countless calls where candidates will come into it and they truly do feel that they're too good for the role, their skill set's better for the role. And when reality, then it's almost like an ego takes over the whole call and it burns a bridge. It honestly can turn into a little bit of a waste of time of a screen. And then three, that was time that we could have put towards a candidate that maybe actually did have the right skill set or actually was excited for this opportunity. I'd say that's probably the biggest mistake that came to mind.
It's almost
Chrissy,
like, I would phrase it, I know what you're talking about. It's almost like a lack of understanding of how big of a resource a recruiter can be for you. Like, we
exactly.
are directly tied in and we have so much context and support that can be offered, and not necessarily to like baby step you through the process. It's really like we can help you get excited about the role. If you just ask those questions, we know where to go with the conversation versus it like sell me on why I'd want to come work here. I think that that's a mistake
Exactly.
to take that angle for anyone. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind of like a lack of understanding of a role a recruiter can play in the process.
exactly. Because at the end of the day, the recruiter, we're here to help the candidates. And if you come into a call not prepared, not having questions, not doing research, but also already just thinking, I'm too good for this position, like, why am I even here? You're burning those bridges when honestly, even if I may DQ someone and not move them forward, if I was able to understand their background, understand their story, and see, okay, like they could be a fit somewhere else, I
Yeah.
will 100% connect with you and keep you in mind for future opportunities or see what else is in my network that maybe I could recruit you or have another recruiter work with. So yeah, I think that that's probably something that a lot of candidates do, and it really just backfires.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. It's like I would sum that up in saying they're lacking curiosity, right? Like we get
Yeah.
so caught up in like the high level details in the job title. And I tell this to leaders all the time, right? Because they get really focused. I understand why, right? And I have empathy for that on like the job title, like CRO or VP of sales. And so many opportunities are missed because there's just no curiosity. And it really is insecurity or ego, which are basically the same things, but can show in different ways, like leading the conversation. But I think both of your insights are great on that. And hopefully, folks can take some advice from that piece. But that's all the time that we have today. Thanks for joining us on the Blueprint Roundtable. Don't forget to subscribe to our series on YouTube or on our website at blueprintexpansion.com. We'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Bye.